Hi, Glenn. A month ago, this room I'm sitting in now was just a hot, humid, empty, off-white concrete box. My wife and I built a brand new house this year, and she got the built-in home office. We both work from home about half the time and then travel for work the other half of the time. This left me with this nice 20 by 25 foot garage to transform into my new office/YouTube studio. What a dream. Here's how I did it. I live in Florida, and if you're unaware, that means it's 90 degrees or higher pretty much every day outside. It also rains pretty much every day for about an hour in the afternoon. Therefore, I needed to seal the floor and I needed AC. Bare concrete is more like a sponge than you might think. Starting with the floors, luckily the whole place was brand new, so it was just a quick sweep away from being prepped for epoxy. But you can already see how easily stained concrete is. This was brand new construction. It was dirty. I went with a 1-part epoxy floor paint. Not as crazy durable as a 2-part epoxy coating, but a lot easier to do, and it makes a way tougher surface than just latex paint. The plan was to paint the walls a super dark gray, so I went with a lighter gray for the floor. The way this stuff is supposed to work is that it sinks into the pores in the concrete and then hardens. So now the floor is completely waterproof and cleans up easily. I spill stuff a lot onto the walls, and man, painting cinder block is a lot harder than painting drywall. Even with the poofiest roller I could find, I had to go back through with a brush and paint all the grout in the cinder blocks. I got this really long extending pole thing, but it is a serious workout painting 500 square feet of ceiling. My God. Doesn't help that the ceiling is something like 10 feet tall, but that sure does make it feel bigger in here. It would have cost a ton of money to design this much extra cooling capacity and ductwork for the main house AC. Plus, I wanted the ability to control the temperature in here separately anyway, so I went the DIY mini split AC route, and so far I couldn't be happier. I keep hearing about these huge quotes people get when having mini splits installed, like over $10,000 for mini splits. I bought a system on Amazon for like $500. Watched a bunch of videos about how to install it, got myself a vacuum pump and a hammer drill, and went to work. I had to run these coolant lines up into the attic and then back down the eaves of the house to avoid putting 2-inch holes in the concrete. And it was a struggle, but Hurricane Tommy and I fought through, and I got the whole thing hooked up in about a day and a half. I made a whole video about that process, which you can find right here. It works perfectly. It can literally cool this garage down to about 72 degrees even when it's 95 degrees outside, and it connects to my phone. I love it. It looks like it's probably going to add about 30 or 40 bucks to the electric bill if I just keep it cool all the time, but that's well worth it to keep all the humidity out for all the electronics that are in here. I went to Home Depot and got some insulation for the garage door too. That was heating everything up quite a bit. A metal garage door pretty much works like a reverse heat sink, also known as a heat sink, transferring heat from outside to inside and basically becoming a radiator when the sun hits it. And my garage faces south, so it gets a lot of sun. I also hung some thick felt chunks on there because that's the direction that I'm talking. And felt does a pretty good job of killing echo in a room, in case you didn't know. A completely concrete room is pretty much the worst imaginable circumstance for audio. This is the sound you can expect from a totally concrete room. Next, I had to decide on what I wanted this place to look like. The two most popular studio spaces that I resonate with the most are Casey Neistat's New York studio and Adam Savage's workshop. So like intentional organized chaos was somewhat of a driver of the design of this new place. I set it up so that I have 5 main stations around the room. Well, 6 if you count my little entryway. I got a nice rug. I printed out a couple of photos that I took on vacations. There's a chair to sit and pet the dog or take off your shoes. I just tried to make a warm little welcome area when you first come in here. Across from there, I have a Windows computer here at station number 1. And if I'm being honest, that's mostly just for playing video games. I'm way into Anno 1800 and I'm starting a Halo Night LAN party at my house. Next to that is the Mac Mini station that's got like 12 terabytes of hard drive space on a RAID 1 setup. So I can always access that from any computer in the house and soon anywhere in the world via SSH. So this little guy is sort of a media hub and a backup station. That computer is also hooked into the rather substantial sound system for the garage. Next up is the, I don't know what to call it, small electronics experiment station. It's where my Raspberry Pi 5 computer lives, and then like a soldering iron and stuff to take apart graphics cards. So this is where I'll do things like disassembling electronics and attempting to learn some robotics automation. Workshop table. On the other side of the room is the 3D printer station, which still hasn't come out of the box yet. Probably out of date by now, I have to get another one. And that's also where my main YouTube view camera slider is sitting. My second camera, which moves across the room and gives a little, I don't know, liveliness to this thing. For my main desk, I built a little stage on wheels. Because I couldn't decide what angle to shoot from. I don't know which wall in here I want to be the backdrop permanently. So this way I can literally move this whole setup around the room quickly and easily if if I decide I want to change things up. And I also figured I would occasionally want to be standing for videos, so this can roll out of the way, and then I have a flexi desk which can just roll in its place and get up high. I've got 2 cameras pointing at me from the 3D print station, a bunch of lighting, a microphone, some monitors. I've actually made a whole video specifically about my camera and lighting setup on my other channel. Find that video here if you're interested in exactly how I get this shot and how I handle audio and lighting and all of that. It's always a gamble on how long I should hold down the smoke button. Sometimes it ends up filling the whole room. For storage, I wanted these open shelves pretty much everywhere they would fit. And then I wanted all my tables to be built into the wall so there's no table legs anywhere, so I can shove more little organizers underneath the tables. I have so much stuff. Coming from a warehouse where I had essentially infinite space, I just accrued a ton of stuff, but can't really get behind the idea of throwing things away that might be potentially useful in the future. That is a lot of smoke. So I'm just trying to make it so everything has a place it can go. I bought a set of gym lockers that you can't see through the haze. I'll put some B-roll up for more storage, and I'm gonna show that they're all labeled so that I'm not just ending up with miscellaneous piles of stuff and then losing everything all the time. This is fasteners to hang stuff. I've got networking equipment here, AV stuff in here like HDMI cords or whatever, one for tools, one for all my podcast stuff because I'm sure I'll have guests on here eventually. Continuing with storage, all around this room I installed a bunch of shelving brackets with these 12-foot shelves. 12-foot, these 12-inch shelves. Concrete walls make it a lot harder to drill into, but a lot easier to just design it however you want because you don't have to look for a stud or measure anything, but the shelves will still all be super strong. So I have it set up where all the shelf space in the view behind me is all camera stuff. Gimbals, light modifiers, rig parts, batteries, whatever. Shelves over here, shelves over there. Up over in my entrance area, I have a little DeWalt station where I charge batteries and have my drill and my impact driver set up and ready to go. I'm just gonna create so much surface area that I run out of crap to set on it. That's the plan anyway. Everything else that needs a place gets spread out into these little rolling carts. There's one for audio stuff, one for more tools, one for PC components, and then one for lighting stuff. For the tables, at first I tried out this bracket system that like collapses down. It actually doesn't quite go all the way to the wall because it hits the floor. So that I could open up the space even more, maybe if I wanted to like have a virtual reality party and run around in here. But as you can see, now that this station's all set up, there is no way I'm ever gonna collapse that table down again. It's got like 6 hard drives on it and a bunch of computers. For the other tables, I ended up making my own super beefy brackets out of this steel material called Unistrut. I also made the bracket for my mini split outside units, like slapped up to the side of the house out of that same stuff. And some hardware that's designed for it. These things can hold probably about 1,000 pounds before they just rip out of the wall. Also designed right into my studio, I decided I wanted to stop going to a commercial gym. If you go back a while in my videos, you'll notice that starting about 5 months ago, I was a lot fatter. I've actually managed to lose 40 pounds, mostly from the MyFitnessPal app. That's a story for another time. But anyway, I got myself a rep power rack with a built-in functional trainer and then a trap bar for deadlifts, so I can save a ton of time not driving to the gym. If you go to a gym, do the math sometime on the drive and then the time you spend like going to the locker room. It's nuts. I'm saving like 10 hours a month now, and that was just with a 15-minute commute. Crazy, man. Next up, the network. Since this whole place is full of computers, I wanted to make sure that I have a super robust network to feed off of. I went a little overboard and set up everything so that it's hardwired. I'm sure everything would work basically equally well on Wi-Fi, but sometimes Wi-Fi goes out, but the network's not down. There's a network switch in the main data closet in my house, and one of the things that comes out of there is a 1 gigabit line that goes straight to the garage. From there, it hits the main switch on my wall, which goes out to my own Wi-Fi hotspot out here, so the cars can get their updates really easily, and I'll always have full signal on my phone here and even in the driveway. Then splits off to the left over here into another switch that splits a Cat6 line into each station on the west wall of the garage. The Raspberry Pi, the Windows station. There's actually a second Windows computer set up and ready to go for the Halo nights that I plan to have once a month, and then the Mac Mini data station. Then on the other side of the room, I have a networked printer, so Sarah can just print from her office, or really anyone can print from anywhere in the house. And if you have multiple people working from home in your house, put a printer on your network. It's amazing to not have to like go plug into your printer if you want to print something out, for the rare instances that you want to print something out. Anyway, that Cat6 line keeps going to another switch that splits out to the 3D printer station and my main view for my YouTube. I also have network switches hidden behind each TV in the house because I think I just said it 2 other times. I plan to have LAN parties probably once a month. Victor's coming. He works for EA. Hey, Victor. I've just started automating things, so most of what you see back there is connected to either a smart switch or has like a smart bulb in it. But man, I really should have stuck with all one brand of things. I have some Philips Hue bulbs, I have some Govee stuff, and I have some Amazon Basic stuff, and the setup took a while to get everything to behave together. Alexa, make Nick's studio red. make Nick's studio white? The Govee strip isn't playing along. I do like that thing though. It does have an app that's really responsive, so it's not like it doesn't, I'm not saying Govee's bad. I just have to reconnect it to Alexa. I hope this inspires some design ideas for your garage office. I'll put links to all the crap I bought to build this place out in the description. And if you have any obvious improvements I should add to this space, I am all about making it better. So tell me all about it. Goodbye.